My Neighbour's Peculiar Habit by Mr. Spooks 267. I've never actually seen my neighbour until last night, yet his presence has been impossible to ignore since I moved in 3 months ago. My new house is as secluded as I could find within reasonable distance of work. Thick walnut trees flank the yard, and a steep ascent into the Allegheny foothills marks the boundary of the backyard. During the summer, I couldn't see my next door neighbour's house because of the leaves on the trees. Sound, however, carried perfectly between our homes. This was not a problem for the usual reasons. He doesn't party to excess or engage in verbal sparring matches with family. His habit is more peculiar. Every night at 1 AM, he walks around his house and slams all of his doors, including the cars, with an extreme prejudice. It has gotten to the point that my body wakes me up automatically at 12:59 in anticipation of the cacophony. I know by heart the sound of his front door. It's the first to open and the last to be slammed, and when it closes, I know the ritual is complete. Now that fall is coming on, my neighbour's house has slowly become visible. First it was the top floor, then the deck, and finally last night the front porch. Last night I left my blinds open in order to catch a glimpse of him. It was a perfect night to watch for him. A full moon lit the expanse of recently harvested cornfield separating our homes. Looking back, I wish I'd left it closed. Like clockwork, I woke up at midnight and readied myself by the window, anxious to finally see the doorman. Punctual as ever, out popped an elderly figure in a smoking jacket and slippers. He limped laboriously around the house, opening, slamming and locking every door. I knew that he had a different key for every door because of the giant keyring on his hip that glinted assertively in the moonlight. I watched his whole routine. I knew it would take exactly 15 minutes and fell asleep after he closed the front door, happy to have my curiosity satiated. I reawoke what felt like instantly. Confused, I looked over at the clock. Red LED lights informed me that it was 3 AM. Assuming that it was bright moonlight keeping me awake, I reached for the blinds. This is when I saw something. It was a figure, definitely not the neighbour I'd seen hours prior, moving about my neighbour's yard in the same pattern I'd seen the old man walk earlier. The encroaching stranger held a lantern that bobbed with each step. The light did nothing to illuminate his features. In fact, it seemed to be obscuring them. Something seemed off about the way the lantern was moving. As it bounded down from the front door to the old man's car, it hit me. For every bob that would account for a step in a normal person's gait, the lantern was covering about 15 feet of ground. I watched, transfixed, until the unthinkable happened. The stranger's course diverged noticeably, and the lantern light was now bobbing across the field towards my house. In spite of the moonlight, I could never make out any features of the thing holding the lantern. There was only the infernal light. I'd like to say that I hung in there and took some pictures or waited to see him better, but I ducked below my window and sat hunched against the wall, desperately trying to control my breathing. I could perceive the light getting more intense based on what was making it through the still open window, and when my front door rattled, I nearly passed out. I sat paralysed as every door leading into my house twisted incrementally before being let go. After the final one had been tried, I let out a sigh of relief, but the feeling evaporated when I heard a familiar sound. The electric engines on my SUV's powered rear hatch engaging. I must have forgotten to lock it last night. I waited until I heard it reclose, then paced fitfully until morning. Now as I sit typing this, I face a dilemma. I can be late to work and risk consequences, or I can go outside and possibly face something more dire. Even though I presented the events of last night as fact, I have no idea if there is any other explanation possible. I think I could have dreamt the entire incident, or seen a petty criminal who stole whatever I left in my car and then left. I think I'll have to go out and check now. I will update you all on what happens, if I can. Thanks for watching. I've been Frankie Denham, and if you enjoyed the